Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Salesforce Ben LinkedIn Live. And today we've got a really exciting podcast-style chat with a director of product from Salesforce AI division. So AI is obviously the talk of the town at the moment, and we're going to have a bit of a refresher on everything that's happened so far since Salesforce got into the AI space quite a while ago, actually. But in more recent times, they've obviously released a lot of AI products. So we're going to dig deep into some of those. So it's my pleasure to introduce to the stage Avanthika Ramesh. How's it going, Avanthika?
Hi, Ben. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm doing well. How are you? I hope everyone's doing well. Yeah, my name's Avanthika. I'm a director of product here at Salesforce. Been at the company for about 4 years now, and I currently lead up our prompt builder product in our Einstein One division.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So I kind of alluded to it there, but Salesforce have released kind of some of their more modern generative products in the last just over a year. But Salesforce have quite a long history with AI. Would you mind just rewinding back time, giving us a bit of a history lesson?
Sure. Yeah, that's right. I mean, Salesforce has been pretty invested in the AI space for a while now. It's been over a decade since we made our first investments in just research around AI and Einstein. So we invested in our first research team, over a decade ago. Since then, we launched Einstein as a product division where we started building AI specific products. So this was all around predictive AI. So we launched, things like recommendations, classifications, Einstein Discovery, and then even Einstein bots. So, one of the first products I worked on here at Salesforce was the Einstein bots product. So it's been amazing just to see that evolution and kind of how we learned over time after releasing these products to our customers. And I do think this positioned us well when generative AI kind of took over. We were able to embrace this new wave of technology pretty quickly from our learnings from our customers early on, learning how to bring them along in this journey. And, you would have noticed right after the whole hype around ChatGPT came out in 2022, we went directly live with some of our first products, including sales and service. We launched Einstein GPT. So we've been able to move pretty fast in this space. And now we recently launched the Einstein One platform.
Very cool. It did seem awful quick when ChatGPT came out, and then Salesforce was just like, "Hey, here's our all new products." But obviously, they've kind of been a long time in the making, so it was kind of perfect for when ChatGPT obviously got released to the masses, and Salesforce had their tech ready and waiting. So very cool. And you kind of alluded to it there as well. A decade ago, Einstein was released, but it was a very different type of AI to the AI that we're seeing in the mainstream today. So could you just give us an overview of maybe let's start off with predictive versus generative AI?
Yeah, I think one of the best ways I like to compare predictive and generative is by talking about what happened with conversational AI in the predictive era versus conversational AI in the generative era. So, one of the best things, I think I have a slide here, Ben, if we want to showcase that, but it's really around how did we build our first bots? Bots were essentially built using rule-based techniques. It was primarily used for very specific use cases like frequently answered questions, maybe routing, and then it was always dealing with very structured text data. And then if you had to create a bot or any kind of intelligence to it, you had to create numerous what we call utterance examples. So you have to create around 75 to 100 different examples of a natural language query for a bot to be able to pick up on that pattern. And then on top of that, you had to create very specific and structured dialogue flows so that it would only follow that pattern. It was highly deterministic as far as what the bot would output. And, we were interacting with these in the forms of these like menu-based or conversational-based chatbots. Now, as we think about generative, a lot of this has changed and the possibilities are a lot more extensive, and it's become a lot more capable of interacting with natural language queries. So now when you have conversational AI powered by generative, a lot of this is now pattern-based. The AI is also capable of doing a lot more, including content generation, summarization, classification, and even information extraction. So it's able to cope up with a lot more data and make sense of that data better. And then in terms of the types of data, you not just have structured text, but now you have both structured and unstructured text data, multimodal data, including images and audio. And then when you think about how this AI operates behind the scenes, you no longer have these structured dialogue flows. It's more around building different topics, different actions that this AI is capable of taking. You're also creating the brains behind this, which is a planner. So you have a planner that knows, based on a specific query or task that's specified, it knows kind of which actions to take just based on the natural language descriptions of those specific actions. And of course, it's non-deterministic. So you can't exactly predict every single time what it's going to output. It's always going to be a little bit different, but it is a lot more capable in terms of what it can do. So instead of just calling it a chatbot, now we're looking at this in terms of co-pilots, so essentially assistants, or even agents that are able to automate all these tasks.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I sometimes feel that AI is kind of sometimes limited by your own imagination, because like I use ChatGPT quite a lot. I mean, we're in like the media content business, and obviously there's so much you can get it to, not that we do, but you can get it to write blog posts for you, can get it to summarize things, inspire inspiration. And I'm always finding new things that I can use it for, but it's just a kind of, I don't know, just a like discovery process of just finding out. And I would imagine it's very similar at Salesforce as well. There's so much you can use this stuff for. It's just finding those use cases to power your org. So you kind of started talking about it then, about structured, unstructured data, which kind of gets me thinking about data cloud, because I've seen a lot of announcements recently about what those databases called, the database you can store unstructured data in. The name escapes me. But yeah, you can link those to data cloud, and Salesforce have based quite a lot of their marketing at the moment around connecting AI and data cloud, which is the Einstein One platform. So kind of how do these two things go together? How should people be thinking about data cloud and AI?
Yeah, it's a great question about data cloud. And I think if we had to zoom back for a second, right? When we were approaching this whole AI strategy, you had to think about what is the difference between consumer AI and business AI. All of them have their own UI layer, model layer, and a data layer. And if you look at consumer AI, a lot of the data is just based on public data. But when you think about business AI, one, you need the UI to be embedded right into wherever they do their current workflows in the context of their business. We don't want people going out to ChatGPT or Gemini, putting their business data in there and trying to get outputs. And we saw some examples early in the days where people would do that, and then they realized that it was going into this like publicly trained model, and then it was outputting those confidential data points to many different users. So that's where, when we thought about our strategy, one, the UI has to be really embedded into their business workflows. And then in terms of the model, we want to give them full flexibility. And finally, in terms of the data layer, this is where business data comes into play. It's no longer just the public data, but they need to also be able to connect their business data to the AI. So when we think about that in perspective, we have data cloud, and we found like really big synergies between Salesforce and data cloud, because a lot of our customers, they don't just have all their business data in Salesforce. They're often using multiple systems where they host their data. And the premise of AI is that if you have good data that goes into the AI, then you'll get really good outputs. So we needed to find a way to make sure that our customers were easily able to unify and harmonize all their data from Salesforce, using Salesforce as that single pane of glass into all their data. And then from there, be able to act on that data. So how can you build different AI apps based on all your data? So that's where Data Cloud comes in. So today, Data Cloud is where a lot of our customers actually connect their models to Salesforce, whether it's predictive or large language models. So that's where we have our Einstein Studio tool. We also have the ability for our customers to do search on top of their data. So we actually have a vector DB that we built on Data Cloud. So we do all the indexing and chunking of that data, the retrieval, so that they can power more advanced use cases like retrieval augmented generation. And then finally, Data Cloud is where we actually have the whole audit trail of the data. So in case our customers want to see a trail of the prompts and generations from the LLMs and be able to analyze that and audit that, that's where Data Cloud comes in handy. So Data Cloud is a very key component of our AI strategy. It's all about, making sure our customers can make the most of their data.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. I mean, there is just so much data collected now. There's obviously, CRM data, but if you think about your customers, a lot of people record their calls. You've got the video and the audio for that, which can provide a lot of insights as well. So yeah, totally makes sense that we need this other kind of this database that can store unstructured data as well as structured. So thank you very much, Avanthika. So moving on now, in true kind of Salesforce fashion, things change very quickly, product names change very quickly, strategy changes quickly. So I think Einstein was first teased at, Einstein GPT was first teased at Trailblazer DX last year, I think, and then it was released subsequently this year. So it's been out for a few months now. But let's have a bit of a talk about, how, I mean, it's obviously called the Einstein One platform now, but the different kind of elements that make that up. So I think feel free to fill in any gaps, but I mean, you have kind of just gone over what Einstein One is, right? Which is AI plus data AI plus data plus CRM.
Plus trust, yes. But I can definitely talk through, yes, Einstein One. I use Einstein One. It's essentially an umbrella term to talk about a lot of the AI offerings that we have. And yes, our main motto is AI plus data plus CRM plus trust. All of it is very crucial to kind of how we built out our strategy. But zooming out a second, I can definitely talk about the AI journey and how we thought about building our products accordingly. So if we want to quickly cast the next slide here, when we think about our customers and their AI adoption journey, typically we want to start by making it super easy for our customers to get started, where they can simply enable a toggle within their current apps and be able to see AI just already embedded into their existing workflows. So how do we help our customers get started super quickly with some turnkey applications? Then we thought about, okay, how do they actually extend and customize that AI to their needs? There's not like a one-size-fits-all AI solution for every customer. They'll want to take these apps, they'll want to modify the instructions and the data so it's well tailored to their business needs. And then from there, the customer may be more capable and more open to start working with what we call AI assistants. So having a conversational assistant that's readily there within their workflows to ask questions about their data and extract insights. And then finally, we get into that fourth wave of this journey, which is around agents. So having AI kind of take over, no real need for a human in the loop, just with some guardrails, the AI is able to act more autonomously. So as we think about each stage of this journey, that's how you'll see our Einstein platform evolving. So let's talk about what some of those embedded AI solutions look like. So when we first launched our AI apps, the first one was actually around sales and service. So for example, you'll see this embedded AI app, which is the ability to compose a sales email. Now, whether you're composing an email within Salesforce or in external systems like Outlook or Gmail, we provided this capability for you to look up the person that you're reaching out to in Salesforce, understand more context about that specific individual based on the data in your CRM, and compose a really tailored and personalized sales email. And we've seen our customers use this and see like huge improvements in just the personalization of the email, the time savings, right, and composing a very personalized outreach, and finally, the deliverability rates of these emails. Similarly, we also launched an app around generating call summaries and action items. This often takes sellers a lot of time just to summarize all those notes and be able to generate next steps and scale that knowledge across their organization. What if AI could do that within a few seconds? And then on the service side, we also launched what we call service replies. So how do you generate instant replies to your conversations based on your own internal data, like knowledge articles? So this was, a huge hit amongst our customers, where based on every turn of the conversation, they now had a new component with Einstein where it was recommending possible responses based on the internal business data. And of course, all of these encouraged human in the loop behavior, meaning you'd always have a human who would be able to oversee a lot of these outputs, make edits before it went out to the end user. So this is just an example of some of our AI apps that we launched, which we call turnkey embedded solutions that are in the flow of work, very easy to enable and easy to drive value with. Now, once we launched these embedded AI apps, that's when we moved on to the next phase of configuration, customizability, and then into the co-pilots. But I'll pause there, Ben, in case you had any questions.
No, I was literally going to ask kind of, how this segues onto the Einstein Studio, which is more part of the platform, which I think a lot of people in the audience will be able to relate to, because it's very much similar to, kind of similar to Sales Cloud. Then you've got the platform underneath it where you can add flows, lightning app pages. You can completely customize it to your needs. So yeah, tell us a bit about the Einstein One Studio.
Yeah. Well, I love to talk about the Einstein One Studio because the whole power of Salesforce is our platform. The platform which allows you to customize a lot of our existing applications, do it in a very declarative way, and offer solutions across the whole spectrum of users who are maybe more business users and admins that are more on the low code side, all the way to pro code personas. So we give that full flexibility through the studio. So what the Einstein Studio One brings is 3 different builders. One, you have the model builder. Model builder is really where you can connect various models, configure those models, so set different hyperparameters, and be able to save those models to Salesforce. You also have the prompt builder, which allows you to create reusable prompt templates and easily create these AI apps. And then finally, you have the Copilot builder, which is where you can actually create various actions in Salesforce and allow this conversational assistant to take those actions on your behalf. So it's a lot more task oriented. So maybe I can quickly break this down into what it looks like. So Model Builder, this was previously known as Einstein Studio. This is where our customers would be able to connect their own predictive models to Salesforce. But as soon as this new wave of AI came through, we want to extend the capabilities of the Model Builder so our customers can connect both predictive and large language models into Salesforce. So this is an example where we've really taken that model agnostic approach. We want to give our customers the full flexibility to use their own model. So we offer some of these standard out of the box models like ChatGPT from OpenAI. But then what if they have models hosted on other platforms like Azure, Bedrock, and other platforms? We want to give them the ability to be able to connect that. So here you'll see the ability to connect a SageMaker model, a Google Vertex AI model. All of these are within the realm of possibility for our customers to have that full flexibility. And once they create these models, they now need to start building instructions to give these models. So how do they give instructions? How do they provide the right data? How do they actually test these prompts to actually build end-to-end AI apps that they can activate within their workflows? So that's where the prompt builder comes in. So that's the product that my team owns right now. So it's essentially a declarative tool to be able to create reusable templates that you can kind of include your instructions into. You can add references to your data, both in CRM and external to your CRM. And then you can also version these templates, connect each of these templates to different models, and test them on specific records of data before you actually go live and launch these apps. So it's a very simple tool that a lot of our customers are finding huge value on. And we're seeing a lot of use cases across various verticals using the prompt builder. Now, if you go a step further, you have the Copilot, which is that conversational assistant that is already embedded into every CRM application. So now what if you had an assistant where you simply ask questions and then you have the brains behind the scene, which is essentially a planner, which knows, okay, you have a bunch of actions already configured, whether it's flows, APIs, or Apex classes, you have prompts, and it needs to know how to actually take these actions based on a specific natural language query. So that's where the Copilot is really effective. It's really able to understand the surface context of where a user is operating and allows them to ask deeper questions and take actions on their data.
Fantastic. Love it. I think for me, the model builder is perhaps the most interesting, because I kind of feel like the different models that are coming out, the different LLMs are, OpenAI seem to be releasing one every 4 months or something like that, like an upgraded one. And I just feel like, there's a few companies, is it Cohere possibly, are the ones creating like very specific enterprisey LLMs for very specific functions. And I kind of think, AI is very impressive as it is, but let's say there was a custom LLM brought out just for sales emails, and it like integrates feedback and stuff like that, it could potentially be incredible. But how are Salesforce kind of looking at the potential of what Model Builder can do as LLMs get more developed?
Yeah, as you said, there's a whole plethora of LLMs out there, right? And we're just going to see more and more being developed. And we felt like with our strategy, we didn't want to bind our customers to any specific LLMs or providers. Every use case probably warrants a different type of LLM that is most optimized to that use case. So that's when we thought about our model builder, we want to give the flexibility for our customers to use existing models that we have, partnerships with. So OpenAI, Anthropic, be able to take those models, configure them to their needs, and leverage them. That way, they don't have to go through the whole burden of creating and training their own model and maintaining those models. But then you have customers at the next phase of that maturity journey where they've already built partnerships with certain vendors. So maybe they have their own Gemini model or their own version of a model on Azure that they want to connect to Salesforce. We want to give them the flexibility to bring their own models that they've probably tuned to their own needs. And then finally, as you said, Salesforce, we are building our own models as well. We have an active research team. We are building task-specific models that are really optimized for specific business scenarios. So let's say we have one that's really good at like summarization or really good at content generation for business data. We want our customers to also be able to reap the benefits of those models. So that's where Model Builder gives you that full flexibility to work with all these different types of models. And Salesforce, we already have some models that we're going to start putting out there for our customers to use. They are definitely optimized in terms of the data that they're trained on, the latency, and like just optimized in terms of the quality of outputs as well. So yeah, we do hope our customers will start seeing the benefits of these. We've also released an LM benchmarking tool. So now our customers can actually go there and figure out like what use case they're trying to power. And based on that, they'll be able to see different benchmarks in terms of speed, quality, accuracy across different models, and it's ranked so that they can always pick the best model for their business need.
Yeah, super cool. I'd recommend everyone going to check that out because you can select different use cases, and then it kind of the LLMs move around and shows you the best one for a specific use case. So yeah, super cool. Thanks for that, Avanthika. So moving on now, I guess for some people in the audience, maybe if they haven't experimented with AI yet, maybe it's hard to get to grips with how it could be used in their organization. But could you give us a few real world examples of how AI assistants such as Copilot are actually being used out there in the field?
Yeah, there's so many different use cases, and I'm learning a lot from our customers, honestly, as I, talk to each of them across different industries. I think I definitely see some common themes across our customers. Every business has a sales division, a service division, a marketing division. So, a lot of them are trying to optimize some of those low-hanging fruit use cases, whether it's creating emails, creating meeting notes, creating service replies, or even generating marketing content that is much more personalized and much easier to create. Now you have Einstein that's able to kind of take all these different data points from your business about a specific persona, put it together really well, and really drive down the amount of time it takes to complete these tasks from hours to, a couple of seconds or even minutes. So huge optimizations in terms of just productivity. But then beyond that, I'm starting to see use cases across each industry vertical, which I find really, really fascinating. For example, in healthcare, we have clinicians already generating like pre and post visit clinical summaries. It's generating huge time savings and allowing them to focus on actual face-to-face interaction with these patients rather than being behind the computer and spending, 3 or 4 hours just writing these, clinical summaries, which often takes away their valuable time from the patient. So it's, not just productivity savings and gains, but also allows them to focus on what their company really wants to do, which is patient care. In the education sector, we have the ability to, create personalized questionnaires for students, take those results from those questionnaires and actually create tailored, educational pathways and course outcomes. So I think that's also generating a lot of impact in that sector. We see nonprofit generating, really good donor outreach profiles and communications based on kind of the history of that donor, their net worth, all of that information. And it's really creating gains in the nonprofit sector. And you see financial services, legal, all around like contracts and analyzing these contracts, generating new content. So I think it's really diverse in terms of the use cases that these different industries are seeing. And there's definitely common themes, but then also very specific to their industry, kind of the impact that it's generating.
Yeah, very cool. I've got this AI tool that like joins meetings with me, and then at the end it sends an email summary around, but at the end it's got kind of the actions from the meeting as well. Like Ben is meant to do this and Avanthika is meant to do that. And yeah, it's just yeah, it's amazing to see. And I think, you know, obviously we're in the really early stages, but it's you know, collectively across the healthcare industry, if you were to multiply the time savings that would have, you know, it's a huge impact to that entire industry. So yeah, really exciting stuff. And we're going to talk about agents in just a second, which is one of Salesforce's AI latest announcements. But when we spoke about before, Avanthika, you spoke about kind of wave 4 AI. Could you give us a bit of insight into what that exactly is?
Yeah, so this is really where, you know, we have customers moving away from purely human in the loop use cases to now taking up that next step in their AI journey, where they have a broader risk appetite to kind of take away that human that's in the loop and start allowing AI to be powered a lot more autonomously. So we had our prompts and our turnkey apps, then customers can move into a co-pilot, which is a lot more conversational and assistive in nature. But what if you no longer had a human that's verifying all these outputs, can just go and put that agent out there in the field in front of your customers or your employees and allow it to operate a lot more autonomously as long as you provide the right guardrails as a business to the AI. So that's where we're seeing that next wave where people are already asking us about, hey, you know, we don't want to keep checking the outputs. We just want the AI to be self-sufficient and operate on its own and see kind of the big gains in deflection rates and productivity through that.
Fantastic. And this is what you've just released in the last few weeks, right? So obviously it's a co-pilot we've just gone through, but you've released sales and service agents that are autonomous agents that sit behind the scenes carrying out work. So please give us a bit of insight into how those exactly work.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to be announcing a lot about these at Dreamforce. It's going to be released soon, not released just yet, but you know, think about being able to take these agents, provide, you know, actions, roles, and even guardrails to these agents so that they're able to kind of operate within that specific domain. So you'll have like a sales agent that's really well tuned to deal with sales specific tasks and jobs to be done. Similarly, you'll have a service agent that knows how to handle, you know, let's say different policies that you have in terms of servicing your customers, escalate to the human when needed. So it's able to kind of automate a lot of these usually like time consuming service tasks and operations and operate more autonomously. But in the case of agents, you know, we'll still provide the full transparency that they're still interacting with an AI agent and know when to hand off to a human when necessary.
Very cool. Does all sound a bit scary, but it does sound like the future at the same time. And as you said, as long as you've got those guardrails in place, then that's the important thing. So just before we wrap up, and we will have time for a bit of Q&A, I can see some questions coming in, but if anyone does have any for Avanthika, please feel to put them in the chat. But just finally, Avanthika, you know, I know you can't speak too much about what's on the roadmap, but you know, what can we expect from Salesforce in the future to do with Salesforce AI? Like, where do you see everything moving towards?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a lot coming out in the future. As I mentioned, you know, we're starting to move towards the whole concept of autonomous AI, but then also thinking about our existing tools and functionalities, how can we optimize them further? One of the biggest ones that you're going to start seeing is the ability to operate with multiple modalities of data. So how do we just move beyond text to actually moving into being able to process files, whether it's images, audio, video, both in terms of intaking this data, but also producing this data. So these multimodal use cases will become really, really powerful and also allow our customers to really harness like the full potential of their data. We're also looking into optimizations to make it much easier for our customers to actually design these AI apps and understand how to embed them into their use case. So whether it's the ability to test these prompts within a single unit or in batch, be able to get better metrics around how their prompts and AI apps are performing, and then even optimization tools where they can just simply type in a natural language query or job to be done. And let's say we generate that prompt for them so that they don't have to go through the headache of understanding how to be a prompt engineer and how to write these prompts super accurately. So there's a lot that we're bringing into these existing functionalities to make them a lot easier, more accurate, more optimal for our customers' business needs.
Yeah, amazing. And I've even seen today, because it's the winter 25 release notes have just come out, and we're doing all our post summarizing. And I was very happy to see a little feature that allows you to type into a Salesforce report the exact formula you want in your report, your summary row formula, and you can just type it in with like natural language and have it kind of suggest a formula to you. So it's really cool to see it kind of, small little features weaving its way into parts of Salesforce setup as well. So yeah.
Exactly.
Great.
Small little optimizations that are all kind of already embedded right there. So things like, formula generation, report generation, even flow generation, and code optimization, all of these are already available today.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we've got a couple of questions coming in, and thank you so much for the chat, Avanthika. Hopefully you don't mind sticking around for a couple of questions.
Yeah.
We've got one here, a couple from Chan Bashar. Actually, I'll bring them up on chat. But how about security? How does that work with business data?
Yeah, security is a huge part of our strategy. So as you know, Salesforce's #1 value is all around trust. And that's why when you said the AI motto earlier, I was like, hey, it's not just AI plus business plus CRM, sorry, AI plus data plus CRM, but it's also the trust, because that's a really crucial component of how we built our platform. So, we were seeing early instances where people were putting their business data into ChatGPT and other public models, seeing that all get exposed. And it was really important to us to make sure that, the same kind of mishap does not happen when people are using Salesforce. So we have this whole Einstein trust layer that we built. And, usually if you come to Dreamforce or a lot of our other roadshows, you will see the trust layer right there, bright and clear. But essentially we have tools that we've created in-house to be able to, for example, securely fetch the right data. So we honor, user level permissions, field level security to make sure that the right data is accessed based on which user is interacting with the AI. We also have our own data masking functionality. So before your prompt leaves Salesforce and goes out to the models, we make sure to mask any sensitive business data based on, PII or PHI classifications, even looking at data sensitivity and metadata. So based on that, we'll make sure that we mask it. Then when the response comes back, we even screen it for any kind of toxic outputs. So we make sure that it's harmless, there's no kind of inappropriate or harmful language. And then we also store this in an audit trail so that our customers can audit the data and make sure that it's fully trusted. And we also have a zero retention policy. I think the zero data retention policy is actually very unique to Salesforce, where we ensure that none of the vendors that we work with will be able to see, store, or process any of the data that comes their way when it's coming from a Salesforce app. So this ensures that our customers can rest easy that, OpenAI or Anthropic will not be storing the data on their side. It's all stored for our customer only in their org, in their instance, so that the business data doesn't leave our customer. So security is a big part of our strategy. That's kind of why we have our entire Einstein trust layer to help protect our customers' data.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. And then one again from Chan Bashar. Does Salesforce provide a default LLM model?
Yeah, so the default model, it's a great question. We have partnerships with vendors like OpenAI and Anthropic. So we already have default models available to our customers when they get started. So, GPT-4, GPT-4o, which is the new Omni model that came out. Also the Claude models hosted on Anthropic. So a lot of these models are already available for our customers to use and get started quickly. And then, beyond that, if our customers also want to bring their own instance of a model, or they want to use one of the Salesforce specific models, we also offer that. So a lot of out-of-the-box functionality that our customers can get started with pretty quickly.
Cool. And got an interesting question for you here. I'm going to give it to you anyway, and you can we can see how you answer it. But how does the Salesforce ecosystem tools, different clouds, look like after AI intervention in the longer term, 5 years from now, let's say?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I like that we're thinking long term. I think one thing about AI, it's hard to predict what's going to happen even a year from now. So a lot of our roadmaps are constantly evolving, and it's difficult to know what even the next year is going to look like. I will say though, you will see a lot of big optimizations with some of the current functionalities and products. As I said earlier, we have this whole conversational assistant that is currently assistive in nature. We're moving into more autonomous use cases where you'll have different AI agents that are specialized in specific tasks that will be able to kind of operate on a company's behalf. So that's where you can kind of see Salesforce as, maybe an autonomous CRM in the future, where a lot of these use cases are being powered more intelligently, and then allowing our business users to focus on more complex and strategic tasks for their company rather than doing any kind of manual entries or management of the data. So I think we're going to see a lot tighter synergies between like data AI, but then also automation.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you very much. Fantastic. I think we're all ready to wrap up then. So Avanthika, thank you so much for joining us today. I feel like we needed this session to get really hyped and prepped for Dreamforce because, there's been so much news in our face, not just from Salesforce, but from every single tech company in the world. So this session really, I think, helped clear up everything for myself and people in the audience as well. So thank you very much. Any final words before we depart?
Thank you, Ben. Well, it was honestly a pleasure to be able to speak to some of our latest functionalities on your platform. So I appreciate the opportunity. I will say it's a great plug for Dreamforce. We have a lot of these new announcements, especially around agents, coming live to you in San Francisco next month. So please do tune into Dreamforce. And if you can't join us live, we have all the content streamed on Salesforce Plus. And I will say we also have a AI use case library. So if you're looking into how AI can really fit into your business and starting to think about those first use cases, Salesforce has launched a use case library where you can kind of dive in, see various use cases based on, specific divisions of your business and specific industry verticals. And hopefully that makes it much easier to think about how AI is a good fit within the context of your organization. So just thought I'd put that out there. And yeah, really excited about the questions we got today. And I'll see you all at Dreamforce.
Great. Fantastic. Thanks so much, Avanthika, and thanks so much for everyone for joining us today. See you soon.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks, everyone.